We've got Lions versus Texans. I think this is going to be a very telling game in my mind. We've got Lions only as a 3.5-point favorite on the road. I think I feel like these Lions lines have been very weird this season, Dylan.
I'm square.
It's the Lions here.
It's the Lions. And I think everybody on this show, we have not been very high on the Texans. Getting into kind of the matchup, the interior of the Houston Texans offensive line is very weak. And given the wide receiver injuries, the Texans are kind of up a creek here. It's like you can't really run the ball through the tackles because the offensive line is not that great. You can't throw the ball because you don't really have any receivers to throw the ball to. We know that Houston isn't able to throw. We saw last week 180 some yards from Stroud. Will Houston be able to run the ball? No, I don't see how they're going to be able to do that. Fun fact before I throw it over to you, the Lions defense is power rated higher than their offense. When's the last time we've been able to say that about a Lions team?
That's incredible, actually.
That's incredible. Good shout out Dan Campbell.
Shout out Dan Campbell. Shout out those guys in the draft. They drafted very well, got some guys in. Mm-hmm. It's all Lions here, man. We've seen C.J. Stroud at this point where against with a subpar offensive line, without guys like Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, he is a different quarterback. That's just the nature of it. I don't think C.J. Stroud's a bad quarterback by any means, but when you lose your top two weapons and the offensive line is depleted, it's interesting that, all of a sudden we're seeing, C.J. Stroud with a horrifically bad offensive line and no weapons, he doesn't play as well. I wonder how that works. If all of a sudden we're shocked.
Yeah.
I think it's the Lions big here. I don't see how they do this unless the Lions somehow shoot themselves in the foot with turnovers, which likely isn't to happen in a dome against this honestly average Texans team right now.
What do you think about the total? 49.5. I don't see how Houston does their part.
That's my issue too. It's where the Lions have to put up 30 plus.
Yeah. I would lean Lions. I'm not going to take it at least as of right now, but it's really hard for me to get to back this Texans team with all of the injuries and how bad the offensive line is. And the line, it's a dome. It's a dome, Carter, so it's almost de facto Lions.
And I think the Lions are just going to have so much success on the ground. We've seen teams run all over the Texans this year still. That's just been a theme of the Houston Texans for the last decade, if we're being honest. Teams have always been able to run on them, and the Lions are going to have so much success in this game, running the ball, throwing the ball. Everywhere you look, I think they're going to have success. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I know Ben will hate to hear that, but I think that's the case. I don't know why else. I don't know how. I really don't know how the Texans pull this one off.
I don't see it either. I don't see it either.
All right, we're gonna get our
Ben would love to hear that. Ben would love to hear us talking nice about the line. Are you saying because it's a jinx?
I think he would think it's a jinx.